Hello, and welcome back to What Does the Bible Say About That? Where if it's not in the Word, it doesn't deserve to be heard. But if it's in the book, we'll take a look. It's never going to be what Miguel said, but always what Miguel read. Last week, we dropped a heavy statement. Godly men don't cheat. And let me tell you, the feedback was real. I had one friend respond by saying, and I quote, Miguel, that's a lot of pressure. We all sin. Pastors cheat. Isn't saying godly men don't cheat like saying a godly man won't lie or steal? It feels like you're demanding perfection in a world full of temptation, end quote. I love that feedback because it forces us to ask a deeper question. Does the Bible call us to be perfect, or does it call us to be transformed? Today, we're looking at the gray area of the black and white truth. I want to start by looking at the difference between perfection and practice. My friend is right. Romans chapter 3, verse 23 says, For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. If the standard of being godly is sinless perfection, then none of us qualify. Not me, not you, not the person in the pulpit. But there's a difference between falling into sin and practicing sin. In 1 John chapter 3, verse 9, the word says, No one born of God makes a practice of sinning, for God's seed abides in him, and he cannot keep on sinning, because he has been born of God. When I say a godly man doesn't cheat, I'm not saying he's a robot who is immune to temptation. I'm saying his nature has changed. Think about this. A cat might fall into a pond, but it doesn't stay there because it's not a fish. A godly man might feel the pressure of temptation, but he cannot settle into a lifestyle of betrayal because he's a new creation. That leads us into a deeper truth about where the pressure ends and the power begins. My friend mentioned that godly men, even pastors, cheat. This is a heartbreaking reality. But we have to ask, was the man acting as a godly man in that moment, or was he acting out of his flesh? The pressure to stay faithful doesn't come from a set of rules. It comes from the Holy Spirit. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13 promises us, No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape. The standard is high, not to crush us, but to show us how much we need God's power. Grace isn't a get out of jail free card for when we fail. Titus chapter 2, verse 11 through 12 says, Grace is what trains us to say no to ungodliness. This brings us to a common conflict, the reality of unmet needs versus unbroken covenants. My friend brought up a great point about unmet needs and the subtlety of the enemy. Life is messy. Marriages have dry seasons. Secrecy can creep in. But what does the Bible say about that? It says that our needs do not overrule our covenants. Let me say that one more time. Our needs do not overrule our covenants. Jesus had unmet needs in the wilderness. He was hungry. The enemy was subtle. But Jesus didn't use his circumstance as an excuse to break his character. A godly man isn't someone who has no problems. He's a man who takes his problems to God instead of taking them to another woman. To my friend and to anyone feeling the pressure, godly men aren't perfect men. They are penitent men, or you can say repenting men. They aren't men who never struggle. They are men who surrender their struggles to Christ. We say godly men don't cheat, not to condemn those who have fallen, but to call up the men who are rising. We don't lower the standard because of human weakness. We lean on God's strength to meet the standard. Being godly doesn't mean you won't be tempted to lie, steal, or cheat. It means that when those temptations come, you have a new identity that says, that's not who I am anymore. So does it put pressure on men? Yes. But it's the kind of pressure that turns coal into diamonds. That's all the time we have for this week. Thank you for the honest feedback and keep it coming. Remember, it's not about what Miguel said, but what Miguel read. Until next time, keep reading the word.